My name is Sue Wells. I served 18 years as a local government elected member, and I started so long ago that if people wanted to yell at you, they had to put a 40-cent stamp on an envelope to do it. I started out as a community board member, and then I served a further 5 terms as a Christchurch City Councillor. I primarily specialised in regulatory and planning issues, and I was the chair of the planning committee during the earthquakes, so you can imagine I've seen a fair bit. These days, among other things, I work as a mentor, coach, facilitator, trainer, helping local government elected members and the staff who report to them know their roles so that they can do their jobs better. When I got started, I knew absolutely nothing about the role, and training was very different then. Even with good training, it is going to take you time to get the hang of it. And that doesn't matter if you've been on other boards, be they commercial or the kindy committee, this role is just different. And that's because of the way it's set out in the Local Government Act. That's the issue with local government in New Zealand as a whole. You see, this is not just a governance role you're getting into, but it's absolutely not an executive role. That means that you're not in charge of the staff or the business that council does, and you don't get to tell anybody what stuff or do or how to do it. So if you think, as you often do at the start, that you're going to be helping by suggesting another way of doing things, you're probably in the wrong lane. That's really uncomfortable because most of your community believes that's what the role of a councillor or a community board member is. And it actually isn't, because local government in New Zealand is not set up like that. It's not set up like the UK or the USA. Our form of local government is much more hands off the doing, make policy, monitor, ensure accountability. To add even further complexity, you inherit all of the previous decisions ever made. And in order to undo those decisions, like anything else, you need a majority. You also have to obey the law, and that means you have to do what the government tells you to do, even the laws you don't particularly like. Unlike the staff, however, you are allowed to actually say that you don't like them. You see, your staff can't speak in the way that you can. And this is one of the reasons you have to be so incredibly careful with that relationship, because it is not equivalent in power. And that means you have to be very careful around ensuring that you're not bullying. Your role is a mix of governance, which is basically figuring out the very broad direction and somewhat more specific budget for things, and then making sure that it's spent in the way that you said it should be, but also advocacy for the community. And unlike a corporate board, your community has your contact details and is not afraid to use them. Also, unlike a corporate board, councils have a very large range of things in which they're interested. Everything from playgrounds to prostitution, climate change to tourism. You name it, the issue possibly will come up. And that means that you will get reports on all of those things. And in order to be successful, you need to have sufficient time available in which you can read those reports and attend meetings and go to briefings. But most importantly, think about things, thinking before you speak. Do you know, that's what I enjoyed the most. I felt like I got the most incredible education, and it didn't cost me a cent. If there were NCEA credits for being an elected member, I would be a high school. And also, this job fits around you and your life. It's just amazing. It doesn't matter whether you are, as I was, a single parent, whether you are a retired, high-flying international executive professional. You come in equal, and it's up to you to find your skills, find your strengths, and learn and do it in your own way. Look, the role can also be difficult. It can be emotionally taxing. It can be lonely, and you might see or participate in behaviours that you find really unpleasant. And I did find that very, very hard. Had I known then what I know now, I would have had a much easier time of things, not just during the role, but also after I left it. I think one of the most important skills that you can bring is the ability to listen to other people, particularly the ones that you don't agree with, and the ones you don't necessarily like very much. You have to be able to listen with tolerance and think about other points of view. You also have to be able to build relationships with other people right across the political spectrum, because you only have one vote. So if you want to achieve anything, to get anything done, you need half plus one. And that number is not going to be made up of the same people on every single vote. Here's a little piece of campaign advice for you. When you're starting out, it's tempting to say, vote for me and I'll get this done. I'll tell you now, you actually won't. On your own, you will achieve 100% of absolutely zero. And it's possible that there are reasons why this thing that you want so badly might not have already been done. My advice to you is not to aspire to that thing, whatever it is, but it's to moderate your language during the campaign period. Instead of saying, I will get this done, use language like, I stand for, or I will work tirelessly to try to. Moderate your language. Finally, you don't need a university degree to be successful in this role. What you need is an open mind, sufficient time, and the ability to learn. Those things are quite different to formal education. It doesn't matter if you didn't finish high school. It doesn't matter if you don't read all that well. There are ways around those things. And elected members should represent the broadest picture of the community from which they're drawn. I encourage you to take the plunge, to think about this, talk it over with your family or friends, because if you want to do this, don't let that ever hold you back. This is about heart, not about the ability to have succeeded in formal education. And final, your staff are here to help you. They're professionals, they have jobs to do, they're doing them and they want you to succeed. Honestly, staff don't care which way elected members vote. What they care about is if they turn up prepared, if they've done their homework, if they're consistent, if they're straight up, and if they stick to what they've said. As long as staff have a clear direction, they'll follow it. If you flip-flop or get out of the governance role, it drives them crazy. And the staff observe you. It's a good idea to treat staff with respect for any number of reasons, but most of all, if you want to come back in another 3 years and listen to another version of this, they're the ones that actually have a lot to do with it. So good luck. Enjoy the next few months as you go through this process. Not everybody who campaigns is going to win, and that can really sting. But I tell you what, once you come out the other side, win or lose, you'll have had a very, very interesting experience. Learn a bit about yourself and about local government along the way. And in 3 years' time, I hope I'm here to join you again for another episode of What to Expect when you're elected.